Hi, welcome to Yellow Slate, your very own school search engine that helps you find the best schools for your kid based on various filters and parameters. Today, we have Ms. Monica Katuria, who's the Vice Principal of Manav Rachna International School in Sector 14. Let's speak to her and understand various aspects that a parent should consider while joining their kid in the school. While choosing a school, a lot of parents come across this new development in the education field, which is NEP. And it's not very clear in many of the websites or in many of the content pieces that's available online. So being in the educational field for so long, can you help us understand what are the latest developments in terms of NEP that a parent should know while joining the kid in the school?
Absolutely. I think it's very, very important because the NEP, that's the National Education Policy 2020, which has come after almost 38 years. It's a new education policy. So it is very, very important for each parent, for each school to understand and probably base their pedagogies, which are governed by and stated by the NEP. So most important thing which I would first like to state here is the structure of NEP. So before that, in our CBSE system, it was always clearly stated a 10+2 system. That was 10 years, that is grade 1 to 10, and then the +2. But now the NEP has changed the entire structure, and now it is 5+3+3+4. So now the foundation years comprises of your early years plus grade 1 and 2. So the most important thing that before that, NEP never recognized early years as a part of the schools. Now, early years it is important for every school to have their early years, that is their pre-nursery, nursery, KG as a part of the school curriculum and pedagogy, which thankfully in our school we've always had since inception, because it's very, very important to have the base set right, for the children right from the beginning. But now the NEP clearly states 5, that is the first 5 years, that is the foundation years till grade 2. Then 3, that is grade 3 to 5, then 6 to 8, and then your 9 and 10 and 11th and 12th. So it comes to 5+3+3+4. So that is now the structure of NEP. Now, NEP, if you look at it as a document, it talks of everything that a Gen Z student should be, given that kind of environment, and should probably have that as a focus. So it just doesn't focus on your rote learning. It focuses on the experiential learning. It focuses on hands-on activities. It focuses on collaborative learning. It focuses on critical thinking. So which are the 21st century learning skills that we talk about. So NEP does say that as a school, it is not just about giving an environment where the child just rote learns and it's just about copywriting. It's just all about enabling the child, to get better with their reading, writing, listening, speaking, all the skills, their cognitive skills, their social emotional skills. So when we talk about all that, it is more about practical learning. It is more about creating such kind of opportunities and possibilities for the children, wherein they get to explore. So that is what NEP really focuses upon. When it talks about early years, so early years also they feel that the play way is the best way to involve children in early years. So play is the best form of learning, if you actually talk about. In today's time, it's very, very important to work on the skills of the children. So when I'm talking about skills as a school, what are we really doing? Are we mentoring them to work on their skills? So whether it's robotics, whether it's Maker Shala, it's Media Shala, agriculture. So all this has to be a part of the curriculum, the pedagogy which the schools follow. So that is what again NEP really focuses upon. Again, when it comes to the choice of subjects, now NEP has given a lot of scope for the students to choose in the higher classes the subjects they want to choose. So it's not just about commerce, it's not just about non-med, it's not just about medical and humanities. It's about choosing what the children want to do. So even a child who's learning biology can take economics if he feels that he wants to excel somewhere in the business management also when he grows up and he wants to understand that more. So if a child has probably taken commerce and some of the subjects related to commerce, he can very much take history. So again, introduction of a lot of subjects at that level and giving that kind of choice to the children to choose from is again that NEP focuses upon. One very important aspect and a feature which NEP has added on to is to the age criteria when it comes to the early years. So as I just said that initially, we never had a structure for early years. All these years, it was like any school taking any kind of age group. Somebody was taking 2+, somebody was taking 2.5, somebody taking 3+. But now NEP has very clearly stated that the first 3 years of the child are supposed to be the time when the child is at home, nurtured in the home environment. And the first step out of home is at the age of 3 as on 31st March. So that is the first step. That is where the child gets into nursery. And then, of course, it's kindergarten 1, kindergarten 2. And when the child is 6, the child is, capable of moving on to grade 1. That is the age criteria which now NEP has set.
I'm sorry to cut you here, but one very important question that a lot of parents keep asking us is, what if their kid is already in PP2 or kindergarten 2, and they have to wait for until they're 6 to start the schooling? So
yes,
what is their situation now?
Yeah, so this year, since the NEP has and all the schools, especially in Haryana, I mean, we talk of the schools here in Faridabad, they have been very, very particular about the kind of structure they have come up with. So now, whenever a new system comes, of course, it takes some time for a system to set in, but it has to start somewhere. So, of course, a child who's already doing his kindergarten or he's already doing so, of course, and if the child is 5.9 or 5.10, So, of course, that kind of flexibility a school has to keep, because, again, the CBSE has not given much clarity, but yes, they are clear that the repetition of the class is also not a very good idea. The child repeating a class because he's already done kindergarten. But then at the same time, if there is too much of difference, if the child is just 5.6 or 5.5, then of course it will be always advisable for the child to repeat the class and probably come on to grade 1 when he's 6+, because now if you follow NEP's system, then it might be a possibility that once a child appears for his board exams after 10 or 12 years, there might be a question regarding his age, that this has to be the age criteria as on this. So we don't want children to be in any kind of trouble at that time. Otherwise, I mean, even we understand as school, that, any child who's already done a particular class, but then it could be a flexibility of maybe 1 or 2 months. But beyond that, I don't think even the parents need to understand that whenever a system changes, there is a little, initial 1 or 2 years are always difficult, but then gradually, we have to get into that flow.
Got it. And moving on to a different topic now, because I'm very glad that the national education policy has addressed what is in need for Gen Z students. But I believe all this to get executed, you definitely would need all the schools to make the most out of the technological advancements, especially in this day and age of AI and other artificial intelligence tools. It is very important to make full use of technology. How is it happening in Manav Rachna at the present, and how do you wish to take it forward from here in terms of making use of technology?
So, as you just rightly said, that we are dealing with Gen Z, and here technology is something which we just cannot ignore, and it has to, go parallel, with the entire teaching learning process.
Yeah.
And it does, and we do have to believe that it does provide interactive and engaging learning experiences, and it makes it very, very easier for students, to grasp the concepts which might be complex, but then when it comes to technology, I think it becomes simpler. So if I talk of Manav Rachna, if we talk of how we incorporate technology in our teaching learning process, to begin with, we use a digital learning platform, that's Scholero, and that is our LMS, that is the learning management system, which is a centralized platform, for teachers to share resources, assignments, assessments, to students, and of course, very, very accessible for parents and students. So again, making it very easy and simple for them to access any kind of material, which is available online for them. Also, use of projectors in classrooms is like an everyday affair, which definitely allows teachers to display digital content and thus making, the lessons very, very engaging for them. Also, we this year have introduced a beautiful platform, which is a reading platform called the RAS Plus. Now, this RAS Plus program is, probably gives an exposure to children to a wide area of books. And it is not just about the reading; it also works on the, helps children understand their Lexile score. So, Lexile score is your reading level. So, every child and every person, even me, we as adults have our own Lexile score. So, based on the on that, the child, probably bridges on, his reading gaps and kind of, works towards it. And also at the same time, a lot of opportunities are given to children to comprehend the text, read, apply their knowledge by solving numerous activities and worksheets which are there as a part of the RAS Plus program. Also, there's a lot of research which is involved when it comes to taking a lot of concepts in the class. So when there is research involved and there's collaborative learning involved, so children are encouraged to research. And when they research, of course, they use the net and they find out the facts and the sources, and they try to, present, make their presentations. So that is really taken up as an utmost priority in the school, that children are really given a lot of opportunities for collaborative learning through a lot of research, and a lot of presentations are done, so there again the technology comes in. To add on one more thing, we are also using Tata Edge, Class Edge, to supplement the curriculum. Again, that's a lovely, curriculum which we have as a form of PPTs, in the form of videos, which supports all the subjects, and it is a great resource for interactive learning.
Got it. So we have a policy in place and all the technical infrastructure that is required to execute it. But where does a syllabus come into the scheme of things? How important is the syllabus while choosing a school? And how does CBSE have an edge over the other syllabuses that we have that are being followed by various schools in India?
See, when you talk of the syllabus, now it is very important. I always believe, and I always, talk to my parents when I do that something, when we talk of what are you teaching to your children is important, but more important is how do you teach your children. I think as schools, whether it's Manav Rachna or any other school, when we talk of the CBSE schools, we definitely have a set pattern. We do have our learning areas defined. We do have, the areas which include your numeracy, it includes your language and literacy, it includes your science, it includes performing arts, visual arts, it includes sports and well-being. So at Manav Rachna also we have all these, areas. But, how are you really, making your children learn? And what is your pedagogy, that makes all the difference? So when you talk of CBSE school, when you talk of any CBSE school, I mean, I always believe that CBSE schools have a very, very structured system, to follow, definitely. So we do have, books which are the NCRT books, although all the schools don't follow NCRT books. Till grade 8 level, till middle school, you are open to follow any other publication, of course, which are all aligned with what the objectives and the criteria of NCRT are, So of course that is one thing, but it is not mandatory for all schools, to follow that. And as Manav Rachna, we have our own publication that is called the Jeff publication. So again, which is aligned, keeping in mind all the skills we want to inculcate in our children. So when it comes to language, we feel it's very, very important to, probably inculcate the listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills in our children to begin with. We always feel that if the child is good with the listening and the speaking skills, the reading and the writing will definitely follow. So to ensure that this is happening, how you mold your curriculum, how you include a lot of activities, and how you ensure that this kind of learning happens, it all depends on the kind of pedagogy you have in the school. So when it comes to numeracy, again, numbers are something which is all about developing the cognitive skills of the child. Right from the beginning, I always tell my parents, is it really important to write 1, 2, 3, 4 till 10? Or is it important for a child to know what number 5 is? So if I tell a child to go pick up 5 pencils from the drawer, he knows, he counts and he, picks up 5 pencils. So there what numbers clarity is all about. So when you talk of addition, we always, kind of have a certain methodology to follow. But before that, is a child, clear with what addition is all about? Can he count 2 plus 2 and he can say, yeah, these are 4 apples which I have. So again, numbers is not always about, oh, I can rote count till 50 or I can write till 100, I can write till 500. But where are my numbers? Where is the clarity of numbers? So that only comes, when you include this kind of learning. And this is not just about, as I said, it's not just about copywriting, it is about comprehension, it is about understanding. So that is something which is very, very important. Now, when we talk of, skill development also, now as an area, when we talk of learning areas in our school, we have numeracy, language, we have sports and well-being, performing arts, visual arts, giving a lot of exposure to our children. But at the same time, we have something like future skills and sustainability. Again, keeping in mind creating global citizens. Do the children really know about what are UN SDGs? What, as citizens, are we really focusing at? Are we really giving our children that kind of exposure that they understand the global issues and they kind of have some contribution towards it? So under our future skills and sustainability, we have Tinker Shala. So Tinker Shala is something which is based on the STEAM concept: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, my grade one child, grade two child, while doing hands-on, is understanding and what forces by making a pulley, probably not knowing what the definition of forces, and just knowing what the concept is, so that when he goes to class 5 or 6 and he's introduced to force, he really knows how to apply it and how what is it all about. So this is again a wonderful area, that we focus on. Robotics is something which we our children have an edge on. Our children have gone to all international level competitions, and they've brought India on the global map and have really excelled well in robotics. Under future skills, we also have media shala. So when you talk of children these days, they have variety of things to choose from. I mean, gone are the days when, as a career, we only had engineering and medical and MBA and all as the scope, doing BBA and MBA. Now children have so much to explore. So as a school, we do try to give that kind of exposure to our children. So under media shala, our children learn photography, videography. They learn the skills of anchoring. They become confident orators. So I mean, my school topper this year of grade 12 chose to do media studies. So that is how the children are focused these days. So you need to give them that kind of exposure right at the beginning, so that they have the clarity. Also, including under future skills and sustainability, we have fashion shala, again another vertical, under that. So again, giving a different edge to the children to understand that whether I have the interest, in that, do I have an inclination towards that? So why I'm trying to say all this, because as I was talking about NEP also talks a lot of this, all about the skill development. So it is not just about language and numeracy and performing arts, it's beyond that now. So as a school, we really need to, kind of work on these aspects.
Got it. And ma'am, in spite of having all these things in place, I believe it is never complete without the cooperation and support from a parent. And if a parent is not on board with all these efforts, it's still not going to be a full result. So how are you fostering this cooperation and partnership with the parent community in exercising all these plans that you have in mind, or that you're doing at school?
Very important, because we really feel that as parents are the most important stakeholders, when it comes to the school education system, when it comes to the school parent partnership. I think unless we are aligned, it never works the way it is. So I really feel communication is the key. If as a school you communicate well with your parent community, they always probably have that positivity. They always know what the school is, kind of doing, what the school is really focusing at. And if they have the clarity, they are always, kind of positive about the school. So, as a school, we always have an open door policy for our parents. It's a very, very, kind of a transparent approach, which we talk about, because we were always told by our vice president, sir, that any parent who takes their child anywhere, you go to a biggest mall, you go to a 5-star hotel where you have all kind of security, you have everything, but can you ever leave your child alone there? You cannot. It is only the school, where you leave your child for 6 to 7 hours every day, because you have that kind of trust in the teachers, because obviously we all are strangers for them, but they have that kind of trust. So there's only one place, I think, in this entire world where you feel that your child is secure beyond home is the school. So, the school really has that responsibility then, to exercise, because if the parents are entrusting so much in you, you need to, kind of be responsible towards that. So as a school, we really have this transparency where parents are always approachable. So whether it's meeting the principal or the vice principal, the coordinators, we are just a phone call away. They just have to, ask for an appointment. And even if it's in case of some emergency, they don't even have to wait for an appointment, and we are there to, meet them. Also, we try to keep regular communication with our parents. So every time anything happening in the school, it is not just about the circulars. It's about, if I have, right now we are kind of, working a lot on the competency based learning of our children. So that communication has to go to the parent, that this is something which we are doing. If we are doing, the exams are approaching, a little letter from the principal's desk talking about that, how the children need to work on their schedule and everything. So, that kind of communication, apart from whatever regular circulars and notices they have to go. So that is again very, very important that we do. Regular newsletters are sent, to the parents, apprising them of whatever is happening in the school. Also, regular PECs, we call them parent educator conferences, where the parents are called to the schools and they are part of, understanding the academics and the co-curricular activities that are happening, in the school, that they are apprised of all that. We also have a very nice concept of, smiling, motivating Fridays. So what we do here is that every Friday we pick up 2 children from each class, and one child, I or the principal speak to. So we always speak about those 2 children to the parent, talking about all the positive things we have noticed about that child. So it's always good to, kind of interact with the parent, talking about positive thing, because that gives kind of encouragement to the parent and the child. And of course, the parent also feels that, oh my God, the teacher knows so much about my child, and she kind of relate to. So we do that. We do a lot of thematic presentations, with our parents. So whatever our child is learning in the school, it is always presented, in the form of those presentations. So again, the parents, feel that, okay, I know everything that is going around the school. There is a weekly planner that goes right from early years to, grade 10, 12, with all the parents, where they know what exactly is happening again in the school. So the communication is very, very transparent, very, very open, so that anybody who has any question, it's answered then and there. And I really believe that if the parents have that kind of trust in the school, and they kind of have that belief, we always can help the children, grow in a much better way. So I think as Manav Rachna, we are lucky enough to have that kind of parent community with us, who are with us, and we also kind of take them as our important stakeholders and take them along with us in all kind of, and to add that, we also have our PTA, that is the Parent Teacher Association kind of a thing, where the parents are a part of our meetings. So wherein whatever new initiatives or any changes we're bringing about, we always have them as a part of it. So there are certain representatives who are on board. So who definitely, are always taking their advice, and their points are always taken into consideration before we do anything.
Fantastic. That's great to know the kind of effort that is going into each child to make it a complete school for so many students. I really appreciate the efforts that you're putting in, and I wish a lot of parents get to see and watch this video, so that they get to know what is NEP, what kind of efforts goes into each syllabus, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming forward, giving us your time, and giving us all these opinions and information about various aspects. It really will be of great help for parents. Thank you very much.